and I couldn't help but smile, 'cause I knew you placed it there.
And welcome back to More Than a Song. This is where we go beyond the lyrics, beyond the melody, and into the story of Breanna Megan's music. The story behind the song, the story behind the struggle, and the story behind the victory. That song you heard opening the program is Breanna's newest release, Here I Am, now out on all music platforms. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you also stay connected with us with everything that we have happening across the network at legacylivingmedia.com. You can find all of our podcasts, including More Than a Song, What's Important Now, New Beginnings Live, and any content that we have designed for the purpose of encouraging and inspiring you. Today's episode takes us to the 10th song on Breanna Megan's first album, Near. The song called Great and Holy Are You, Lord. The very first line of the song, you can hear the heart of someone who walked through valleys, climbed mountains, fought battles, and came out worshiping. It's a declaration that God is faithful, the enemy does not win, and that God has a plan and he is still at work. One of the most powerful lines of the song says, "The devil tried to get me, but you stopped him when you put up your hand." What a picture. How many times has God stepped in, protected us, directed us, and kept us? And I love the word kept because it means preserved for future use. How many times has he fought the battles that we never even knew were happening? This song is a testimony. It's about looking back, seeing God's goodness, standing on the mountain, and remembering where he brought you from. Fixing your eyes on him and moving forward in your faith. Psalms 121 verses 1 and 2 says, "I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence comes my help. My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth." And I believe that's the heartbeat of the song we're going to talk about today, a song of worship, a song of victory, a song of trust. And Breanna, that's where we will start today. Let's talk a little bit first about your new song out there, Here I Am. How excited. I noticed, I checked before we started recording. I always look to see what the top songs are on your Apple playlist, and Here I Am is now in the top spot. How do you feel?
I think it's a pretty good song. Thank you for listening to anyone who's listened. And if you haven't, I would love if you would listen to it. It's a great song. And I think I can say that just because I feel like he obviously gave it to me. But I was really excited to release that song and just to have it, and how it came out, like the way it turned out ended up being really great. And I think it's good. It's really good.
What do you mean how it turned out? Because, you could talk a little bit about it. The Here I Am episode is way out in front of us. So
Yeah.
so we can dive into it just a little bit.
It just the music ended up coming out great, because this album that is currently in production, we've talked about it before, it is being built again. It was recorded back in 2023, and just a lot of stuff happened, and we've literally had to pick up the pieces. And so to find the gentleman that we did to help us with this, and then he's edited things, and he's produced things, and he's mixed things, and he's just helped bring it back together.
And he's the artist that sings the song with you.
Yes, and he did a really great job, and just so thankful that it's turning out the way it is. I was really worried when, a couple years went by and it was like nothing was happening with the album, and then a lot of things broke down, and I'm not getting into all of that, but when it looked like it was ending, you put your heart into these songs, and I believed that God gave them to me, and I was like, God, what are you doing? And but but I try to trust that all things happen in his perfect timing. And I with my music, I've released things and just like, God, whenever you want this stuff released, it's your will. And so I'm thankful that it came together how it did. It is a beautiful depiction of what the heart behind the song is. And I just think it came together really well.
Gentleman's name is Eric Haley, and he does a lot of songwriting and production, and he also works with churches to help them build a better sound for their worship. And his website is erichhaleymusic.com, Eric, Haley music.com, erichhaleymusic.com. Check him out and support him. He's got a lot of great stuff on there. There's some music and some different things that you can check out, but just a great help to us. I can tell you, we've been working with him since last summer, I believe, Breanna, and
July.
It's been great.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. And then with the song, we were trying to figure out, do we want to add like background vocals? Do we want to add like a duet? How do we want to go about this? And he offered his vocals, and it became more of a duet, and it really became great. It sounds great. And, you always get nervous with how things are going to turn out, but I couldn't be happier with this song. And I'm really thankful that he came into our lives and was able to help us.
Absolutely. It is. I think that Here I Am is one of your better songs, and we got to be careful not to get too far ahead, but up until exclude Here I Am, because again, that's out in front of us. And I always forget to ask this question on our episodes, but
I remember, but I don't remind you.
Well, you should. I don't think you like to pick between them, do you?
No.
Okay. Well, I've remembered this time. So up until now, and we've had several songs since I last asked, but In the Silence still your favorite, or?
So I was thinking about this actually from the last episode we did with Faith, and I was like, well, he hasn't asked me that question in a while. And I know I've said this and it sounds cheesy, but like In the Silence is different. Like it'll always hold a special place just because it is different. It's what started things, and it came through so much heartache. But just reflecting, like just where I am right now, I feel like Near would be it.
What?
Yeah. Right now.
So you're saying that In the Silence has been dethroned. Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news right here on More Than a Song. In the Silence, number one on Breanna's hit list, is now number 2?
No, I don't know. I hate this question. Like, it's just from where I am standing right now. And honestly, In the Silence is still there because I feel like I am in a lot of silence and wondering where God wants me to go. But in the same respect, it's like he's also repeating to me, like, I'm near, be strong and courageous, do not fear, all these things. So I would say maybe they're tied. We'll put
No. We don't get to do that. No. We don't get to do that because remember, even though I have failed miserably as the host of this program to remind you to pick every episode, I'm now cornered. You're in a corner. You're going to have to say whether or not. I just feel like right now we have some listeners out there that are scratching their head. They feel so confused, and we need to clear up that confusion. Your favorite song thus far that we have discussed.
In the Silence will always be that.
I just feel like this is a non-answer here. Well,
you really got the folks at home got to hear my
West Virginia, your West Virginia, yeah,
West
absolutely.
Virginia accent come out, that you all make fun of me about. But I don't know.
I would never.
I don't know. I just Near talking about it. Maybe it was just the hype of it because I was like just finished talking about it, and I was in the mode of like thinking about it and wanting to re-record it and stuff. But with that said, I don't want to kick in the silence out because it really is that song that's like it is there.
Okay, but here's the thing. I know that it will always hold that special place in your heart because it's the first song. It really started everything, and it will always be that. Yeah. That's not really the question because that will be the case when we get into your third album, Piece by Piece, and we start talking about, all the other songs. So it's at this point, if maybe I can help you here. If you sat down and listened to a song, what is your favorite?
Out of that album?
Out of that album. No, only the ones we've talked about. Because if you say out of the album, it's a spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, still In the Silence. Just because I know that was a roller coaster, folks. No, I'm just in the silence. I can't. I feel like In the Silence is my baby, and I feel like I'm neglecting it if I'm like something else.
Okay. Well, this took a turn. I almost regret putting you in this position because
you should feel really bad.
Is Near not your baby too?
It is. No.
You got all kind of children.
Okay. Of course. Okay. So let me see if I can break this down. I feel like I'm doing awful. So Near, like maybe the best way to answer this question would be like, which song have I enjoyed talking about the most? Maybe.
Nope.
You're not making it easy.
I know. I know. And maybe I am making it difficult. And maybe you just need some time to process it.
I think I need time to process.
Okay.
Maybe like 3 years or something.
Well, we don't have that long. So we're just gonna pause for 5 seconds and give you a chance. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, let's move on. Okay. Since I can't pin you down. So up today is Great and Holy Are You, Lord. It's the 10th, as I said, it's the 10th song on your first album, Near. And it's kind of like if you listen to the album, it's almost like there was a bit of a transition to more of a worshipy type lyrics. What do you think? How do you feel about Great and Holy Are You, Lord, before we really dissect it, just like overall?
So this song, it was more of a worship song. It was the recognition of places I've been, but also where He's leading me. Of course, this song was written September 1st, 2019. It was written before Near. So I talked about how Near was like the transition point of things for me. But this, I think, and there were things that led up to it, obviously, but just definitely more of a worship style. And it kind of reminds me more of like David in the Psalms, kind of like him in the field, like singing and playing, and just that's kind of how I felt, I think, in that moment of writing this song. Just worshiping and just the recognition of who He is. That was the premise of it, I believe.
Okay, so and while I'm thinking about it, I don't think we ever say this, but I mean, you're available for churches or festivals or fairs to sing. You've done. We had one really busy summer where you did a lot of you kind of did a tour of the state and some out of the state to sing at some different festivals and different things. And you have some festivals that continue to call and ask you to come back, which is awesome. But she is available. If you're interested, you can most definitely reach out to us. And help me, Breanna, do we have like a Breanna Megan email?
I do have an email that I set up a while back. I just kind of set it up, but it's Breanna Megan Music at Gmail. But then you also have Facebook, Breanna Megan Music, and the messaging app that's there. Okay. And a lot of people reach out that way too.
And before we started this program today, I was poking around on YouTube. You have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, haven't been great at posting things.
Well, we talked about that a little bit. You're nearing 200 subscribers on there, and your posting has been a bit sporadic, but we talked about you're going to do some more of that. But like, there are people from around the world listening to your music.
Yeah, I mean, when you were telling me that, and there were a lot of things that you were seeing that I apparently haven't seen. Like I have an app, and apparently the app isn't showing me everything. So if you've ever commented or anything like that, and I haven't responded, I do apologize. It's not that I'm ignoring you; it's that I just really haven't seen it. But no, the fact that when you told me, like, you showed me like where some of the listeners were from, or who was watching, or some of the comments, and I was like, kind of blown away, honestly, in shock that I guess it comes back to like, I'm just a girl trying to do what God wants me to do. And I guess I've never really thought that anybody would really want to listen. And so to know that people are out there listening, kind of shocks me.
And we were talking, ladies and gentlemen, and again, thank you so much for, liking and subscribing to More Than a Song. And if you also listen to our other podcasts, but we were looking at our statistics just over the last 30 days, and it's kind of mind blowing that in the course of 1 month, with I consider this a media ministry, and over the course of this past month, we have far more people listening. Let me say the impact is. In numbers of people listening is so much greater than even what we have on a weekly basis at church. I mean, like exponentially greater. Mm-hmm. And so that's a bit, mind blowing as well. And it comes with a tremendous responsibility. It's super important. And I hope that when you listen to these, I'm Breanna's dad. I've said that in some episodes. If this is the first one that you've ever listened to, then, there you go. But, we do take this very, very seriously. It really is ministry for us. It's what our whole lives have been, and what we've tried to dedicate our lives to. And I'm remarkably proud of my kids for, being in church, serving the Lord, doing what I believe He would ask them to do. And so that's really, really important. And the last episode, you got to meet my youngest, my other daughter, Faith. And, what you're going to hear on these we're just real.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was thinking about the last episode of I Want More of You, Jesus, with Faith. I mean, they got a glimpse into just literally everyday conversation. Like, I mean, that's, if you come to our house, if you had a little camera at our house, that's the kind of stuff you'll see. So we try to be authentic. And with that, because I know for me, when I first got into ministry, I thought I had to look a certain way, act a certain way, say certain things. And I realized that, I am me and I can't be anyone but me. And so like, I'm going to mess around. I'm a bit of a character sometimes. And at least if I'm in a good mood, sometimes life sucks the joy out of me. But anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But that's me. That's what I like to do. And so we hope that you hear authenticity when you hear this. So anyway, let's start with that first line of the first verse.
So it says, "You told me there was goodness, a promise I've yet to see." So that's the very first line. I don't know if you want me to stop or keep reading.
Yeah, you can keep, whatever the flow is for you. You whatever you think.
Just rely on my faithfulness. You will do a great work through me. So as I stand on this mountain, I look down to where I've been. The devil tried to get me, but you stopped him when you put up your hand. And that's the entire first verse. And so there's a lot in this verse, I guess, to unpack. So you told me there was goodness, a promise I've yet to see. That was just me writing as like, okay, God, I have desires. I have things that I want.
I haven't fully seen them yet.
Yeah. But I believe that not necessarily has He like, child, I will give these to you, but based on His word that He will give good things. And knowing that doesn't mean I get all of my desires. It doesn't mean that I get everything I want, but knowing that He does honor and He does do the things he does, just believing that his plan is perfect and trusting that one day I will see those things. So that was that first line. And, but then the part where it says, just rely on my faithfulness, you will do a great work through me. I was looking for journals because there's a journal entry, and I'll get to that here in a minute, that really goes with the song as to why I wrote the song, a part of the song. But just a lot, like I was going through, I have so many journals, and I write to release and to process, whether it be through writing songs or just journaling in a journal. And I have many of them, and I've done that since I was young. But just relying on his faithfulness, and it says, you will do a great work through me, knowing that I don't have it all figured out. But if I rely on him, if I rely and I trust in him, then he will lead, he will provide, he will guide, he will direct. And that was him speaking that to me. Just rely on my faithfulness. Just don't try to figure it out. And I've tried since to figure it out. Don't try to navigate it. Don't try to have it all figured out. Just rely on my faithfulness. One of the things that, as you were talking in the entry, that came to my mind was last year. And if you go to my Facebook page, it's a post I made towards the end of the year, but of 2025. But my word, so to speak, of last year that just kept appearing, just kept showing up in everything I did. Whether I was out just at a store and I would see a journal with this word on it, or if I was listening to you preach and sermons from other people, like this word just kept appearing. And it's abide. And abide means to bear patiently, to endure without yielding, to wait for, to accept without objection. And I say that because, oftentimes in this life, we get so caught up in, I've talked about it before, the speed of life. It's like, okay, well, here's your order it now, and you'll get it in 5 minutes. But with God, not always do we find the answers immediately. We don't always know what he's doing. And sometimes he calls us to abide, or to wait for it, or tolerate, or to endure without yielding. And that's a lesson I've been learning forever, it seems like. But then the song kind of takes a turn in that first verse, and it says, so as I stand on this mountain, I look down to where I've been. The devil tried to get me, but you stopped him when you put up your hand. And that those couple of lines there came from, I was actually trying to find the journal entry to this, and I couldn't find it. And I was finding all the other things, but I was sitting with you and Mom, and we were talking, and I can't remember what we were talking about. I can't remember what we were really discussing, but it was one of those things that God just kind of stopped in the middle of it, and you began speaking to me. And one of the things that you said, and I can't remember word for word, but one of the things you said was that there are so many things that Satan has tried to come at me with. There's so many things that he's tried to attack me with, but that God has put his hand up like a hedge around me and has stopped the attacks of the enemy. And so that's why I wrote that line. And just remembering that as I stand on the mountain, looking back to, if you've listened to this podcast, and if you haven't, you can go back to all these other episodes where there was just a lot that I was going through at the times of these songs that were written, and looking back on those moments and knowing that the devil has tried to stop. And I'm sure that if you're listening, you've been in a position where Satan has tried to stop whatever God has. When you're doing what God wants you to do, there's always an attack. And I'm sure that if you're listening, you've felt that, you've experienced that. But it's the recognition that with every step, God has has led, God has provided, God has met me. And I was even telling my students this past week, because they were talking about things, and I told them, I said, sometimes it's good to reflect. Sometimes it's hard, you don't want to, but every moment has made you who you are in this moment. Every moment that you've walked through, your past, your present, has created your present now, and it will prepare your future. And I don't know if they really understood exactly what I was saying, but as Christians, everything we've walked through, whatever we've walked through, whatever we've done, has created who we are now. And I think God
we are
uses
the sum of all the experiences behind us. I say that a lot.
Yes.
So everything, like you said, everything that we've walked through has created who we are today.
Yeah. And so just recognizing that was a lot of that first verse. And then knowing that, Satan has, I just imagining the fact that I've heard it said before, if we knew what was happening in the spirit realm, if we could see it with our eyes, it would scare us to death. And that's probably true. I imagine it is, because there's a war, there is a war, and it's between good and evil. And that war is on a spiritual level, but it's also raging within us. We have our spirit and we have our flesh, and we have the spirit that wants to lead and it wants to guide and it wants to do the good things. And then you have your flesh that wants to not do those good things. And recognizing that there is a battle, but that God intervenes on our behalf. I just find that amazing. And I find that incredible that he would do that for me, that he would intervene for me. And so that's really a breakdown of that first verse.
Yeah. But I agree. Everything that's kind of happened is creating who we are 100%. So it says, there was goodness. You told me there was goodness, a promise I've yet to see. Just rely on my faithfulness and a good work you'll do through me. I stand on this mountain. I look down to where I've been. The devil. So you talk about the sum of experience. So you write the song. Sounds like you're in a bit of a high place, because you're talking about I'm on this mountain and I'm looking down and I see what God has brought me through.
I can't, and I wish I could remember exactly where I was. I can't say for sure that I was in a high place, oh my goodness, everything's great. But there was definitely a recognition of he has me and he's always had me. And I don't know if I was necessarily in a, so when I wrote this, on August 24th, I wrote this on September 1st, 2019. So on August 24th of 2019, it was midnight. So it was just the 24th. And I remember that because it was my papa's birthday. And my mom asked me to make tea for her.
Yeah.
And I'm her tea person. So I get the teapot out and I begin boiling the water.
Yeah.
Had to make sure I said that right. And going through that, and for whatever reason, my dominant hand is right, but I always pour things with my left. And I don't know why I do that, but I do that. So I grabbed this teapot off of the stove, and it's freshly, it just finished boiling. My goodness. And so I get it off the stove and I'm pouring it into our jug that we have, and our gallon jug, and I'm preparing to, finish this tea. And somehow the pot, or the jug that I was going through, it dumps.
Yeah.
The water, or the tea that just finished being boiled on the stove is dumped and poured all over my hand on my right hand. So that's my dominant hand. It's poured all over my right hand. And immediately I just grabbed my hand and just jumped back. Well, then my mom, she's like, are you okay? Are you okay? Well, when I'm in pain, don't talk to me. I don't want you talking to me. That's how I am.
I remember this night.
Yeah. And so I do what I've been taught to do. You put it underneath of cold running water. So I run to the kitchen or to the bathroom sink, and I just have my hand underneath of the faucet, and the cold water's hitting it. And I mean, my hand hurts. It feels like fire, and it's just awful. And my skin peeled back. I mean, it wasn't a good experience. And I remember leaning against the sink, and Mom is like, I need you to pray for her. I need you to pray for her. And I'll never forget, you were like, well, unless God is preparing to do a skin graft, you need to get her to the hospital.
I remember that. Yeah, because like, obviously I believe in the power of prayer, and I believe in like miracles and all that stuff. But it was like, it got a little bit chaotic because she was like, I mean, you were in pain, but she was kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say turning on me, but she was looking to me, and she was like, if God doesn't do something, we're going to have to like get her to the hospital. And so I was like, unless he's going to do a skin graft, we got to get her to the hospital. And I remember saying like, he can 100% do that, but you may want to start, getting her in that direction. But I'll let you finish it because he actually did do an amazing thing.
Yeah. So the skin, it peeled back. It was not a pleasant thing. It was like my index finger and thumb, like skin on that part of the hand had been pulled off. And, I'm leaning there and I'm like, God, I don't care what happens. You can heal it or not. I don't care. Just, I'm in pain and I just need something. So we got into the car, and, I put my hand in. We had a container that I kept my hand in, cold water the entire time because it just hurt so bad. And the only relief I had was in that cold water. And so we're on our way to the hospital. And I remember the entire way we were playing Sea of Victory by Elevation Worship. It was like the first song that came on, and we just kept playing it. So we get to the hospital, and ended up being, it was a second or third degree burn. I can't remember which one. I think second, because I think third is when you do need like skin grafts and all that. So it was like a second degree burn. But the doctor, she said, what we did with the water was kind of like a good thing and a bad thing. Good thing because it helped keep like any debris or, bacteria out. But a bad thing because when you take it out, it just hurts really bad.
Yeah.
But she told me, she said, this is pretty serious. She said, you are probably going to experience infection, and that infection will go up to your elbow. Obviously, if that happens, you need to come back. But she seemed pretty confident that would happen. And she, was like, you're probably not gonna be able to do anything with your hand for a while, all these things. And I'm just sitting there listening, like, what the heck? Like, what is happening? And we prayed over it. We believed, I got ointment and wrapped it and all this stuff. And, but that moment caused a lot of fear for me, because it was like, okay, God, because I'm an overthinker and I just spiral sometimes. And I was like, okay, so if I can't, this is my dominant hand, I can't play my guitar. And if I can't play guitar, I can't write music. And if I can't write music, I can't sing. And like, that was like the process that I was going through at the time. But it was a good moment because it showed me that I had found my identity in the things that I do rather than my identity in Him. And so because I recognized that, hey, My identity isn't found in my music. My identity isn't found in playing guitar. My identity isn't found in singing. My identity is found in Christ. It created this whole new journey for me of, okay, so I'm not measured by what I do. I'm just measured by who I am in him. And thankfully he comes in and he's all I need. And so I was still recovering at this point from that. My skin hadn't healed. My skin hadn't it was healing, but it wasn't fully healed. But we prayed over it. Infection never happened. There was no infection, which was a miracle in itself. There was no infection. And I wasn't able to play guitar for a couple of weeks, but then it ended up being fine and I was able to play guitar. And I remember as it was healing, and maybe you're listening, you're like, well, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. But I prayed a prayer and I said, God, I want to remember what you've done. And I was reminded of the children of Israel when they stacked the stones, and it was tell your children and your children's children, and remind them of remind the generations of what God has done and what God has brought you out of. And so that was my moment. And I said, God, I don't want to forget. I said, so I need you to leave me something. And I was like, don't make it ugly. Don't make it like hideous, but leave me something that I can remember that you healed me. It's a story I can tell people about. It's something I can point to. It's something I can show them. And so in this part of my hand, if I get tan, that part gets darker than the other. If I have my hand in extremely hot water, it turns purple in that spot. And it still has the dots from and I know this is probably too much information, but it still has the dots from the where the skin came up, and it revealed that layer of skin that isn't supposed to be revealed. And then when I get really cold, it turns red. So every day there's a reminder of what God did in my life during this moment. And that was part of what led up to this song, actually.
So he did a skin graft?
He did, in his own way, in his own time.
Yeah, that was interesting. But anyway, so it worked out, God. And so you have that little bitty, itty bitty scar.
Yeah, it's probably about 2 inches long on my hand.
So it's kind of like Jacob walking around with a limp.
Yeah, I just got a little scar on my hand.
Yeah. Okay, so take us into the chorus of "Great and Holy Are You, Lord."
So the chorus says, so I sing, great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. So I sing, holy is the Lord. You are holy, Lord. It's very simple, very simplistic.
Very worshipful. Is that a word?
I don't know if that's a word, but
it is now.
It is. You made it.
Worshipful.
I'm going to look it up later.
Worshipy. Yeah.
It was definitely a moment of worship.
Okay. See, I was having some fun, and then you just had to just take the joy out of it.
I do that a lot.
No. So a moment of worship. Yeah. So, okay. And then it goes into the next verse.
So it says, I fix my eyes upon you, knowing with you I will not fail. I seek your name above all else, knowing Satan won't prevail. As I travel onward, I know you are guiding my feet. Place me in your hand, fulfill your plan, have your way in me.
That's a declaration.
Yeah. That was honestly, that last part, it was just my way of saying, I have to be careful because, you say things sometimes and then you're like, oh, man, I shouldn't have said that because then the tests come, But it was just my way of saying, I'm yours. I'm in your hand. And whatever happens, wherever this life takes me, I'm sticking with you.
Yeah, my times are in your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just even this road of life and navigating things. I just journaled the other day. I'm like, God, I'm so frustrated. If I could have my own way, this is where I would be. This is what I would be doing. And this is where, like, these are the things.
When you say where you would be, like, are you talking about like a geographic location?
Yes, I am. I'd be in Georgia.
Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta?
No. I'd be close to Jekyll.
Yeah. I think about that a lot too. And anytime I'm not thinking about it, your mom, she makes me think about it. Especially during winter months. When the sun, when it starts warming up. So we, as an athletic director, I at a lot of sporting events. A couple weekends ago, we had 2 days of a baseball classic that, was over 2 days. Teams had 4 different sites. And so we were at our school, and we've got this really nice canopy. Now, I'm not talking about the little pop-up deals you get, for $70 at Walmart. I'm talking about, this is like branded. It doesn't have the real cheap poles. This is a nice canopy. And so, I don't know, it's probably 10 in the morning and still kind of chill outside. Sun's not real bright. It's not real hot. It's okay, but it's coming, right? Because we know it's going to be a hot day. It's going to be in the 80s, maybe the 90s. So I say to my wife, let's get the canopy out and set it up. And she says to me, I want sun. So we sat there from 10 in the morning until about 7:30, 8 o'clock that night without a canopy. And I paid the price for it.
Yeah. You could have sat underneath the canopy, though.
Well, I did the next day. I did.
Yeah.
I did not heed her, whatever. But so I got sunburned, and then of course, I mean, I think it's frustrating for her sometimes because we have Native American, in our blood, and so I'll get like really red, but then
tan, and
then almost instantly. And it's a bit of a struggle, ladies and gentlemen, in our house.
This is so hard for him to talk about. I just want you to know.
Yeah, it's challenging. I'm going to try to hold back tears. But it's so challenging for everyone in my house because they work so.
No, listen.
Whoa.
No.
I need to be able to finish this. You're allowed to agree with me in a second.
I will not be agreeing.
Okay, so then you tell the story.
No, you're going to say they work really hard to get tan. They lay out in the sun. No. Mom already told me you said that. And I said, that makes me mad because I do not. Now, when we go on vacation, yes, I'll lay there in the sun. But that's because I enjoy that. It's peaceful to me. It's relaxing. I'm not actually like, I put sunscreen on. So
you enjoy your skin melting.
I enjoy laying there with the sun on me and then like getting in the pool, cooling off, and then getting back out.
No, wait a minute. We don't have a pool.
On vacation.
Okay.
Now at home, I don't lay out or anything like that. I don't do that at home. It's only on vacation. So to say I work really hard for a tan, that would be falsehoods. Actually, and I know I'm not as dark as you, but I'm getting some color to me here. And yesterday my arms got red, and then today I woke up with a little tan. Don't look at me like that. You're like, yeah, mine's dark. My arm's darker than yours. Yeah, I know.
So how dark is that arm?
I mean, it's dark.
You also,
now listen.
You also get dark.
I
so
do.
Quit being so confrontational here and hostile. and you totally hijacked what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Please forgive me.
And it was nothing like what you said. And I am a little bit taken aback, to be honest with you, that you just assumed what I was going to say. So if I would be, I know this podcast has your name on it, but if it would be okay for me to okay. All right.
Sorry.
So I'm going to try this. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to pretend that none of that was said and that my feelings are not hurt. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, it's really challenging in my home because they work so hard for a tan, and I just wanted a canopy, and I couldn't get the canopy, and so anyway, I get really red, and then I get I don't know, my skin darkens up. Why are you so vicious towards me? It's not my fault. God created me.
No, I'm not vicious towards you. I just think it's the competition, because everything in our house is a competition.
Oh, is it? I am not very competitive.
Okay. Everything is. Just the other day, I ran into one of your friends at a softball game, and I was sitting there talking to him, and he said, "Is your dad still competitive like he used to be?" And I said, "Yes." And he makes me so mad because
who was said friend?
Chad. I don't want to say his last name. I don't want to just throw his last name out there.
Like Chad, who comes here sometimes?
Yes.
Well,
he's like, "Is your dad still I was like, "Yes."
I just feel like I don't know. This episode, I just feel like I don't know.
They're definitely getting more than a song.
Well, that's the plan, right? Okay. All right. Yes, I admit that I am a competitive person and that I enjoy winning.
And you have passed it along to your children, AKA me, and I get so mad when I lose, especially to you. And then I was also telling him, since we're just talking about this stuff, just airing everything out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize that we're taking you into this, but I feel like we have to hash this out, and unfortunately the microphones are on.
I told him, I said, "And if I win anything, he accuses me of cheating."
That is not true.
Example, Exhibit A. We were camping. We were playing Phase 10. Faith was right before me. It's not my fault. Faith was set up before me. Faith kept messing up. I kept getting the card. I won. But also, I won after she was after me. So it was just, honestly, I'm good at the game.
Listen.
And you said I cheated.
Okay, so maybe I do remember this. Maybe cheated was a little too much, but here's how, with time to step away from it emotionally, where I'm not as emotionally attached to that situation. Some time has passed, and I feel like the wounds have healed. Here's what I would say. I would say that you took advantage of your sister's inability to play that game, and I think we probably should get back to praising the Lord because this program is more than a song, and we are off the rails.
Okay.
But I will say this. You may not have cheated, but you knew your sister could not play that game, and you took advantage of that.
But you would have too, had she been
So let's talk. Is there a bridge?
Well, there used to be a bridge, but I took it out
but it's recorded.
We took it out. No. Yeah, it is.
That's what. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, the confusion here is there. So I looked at that and I saw the X and I read it and I was like, well, that was recorded. Why is there an X through it? What's going on?
I think you had told me we were going to take it out.
But then we put it back in.
But then we put it back in. I think it's what happened.
And since it was ink, it just stayed on the paper.
Yeah. So it has just an X.
It's funny because ink does that.
It does. Yeah. So the bridge, I guess, would be, "Thank you for being with me through every doubt and fear. Thank you for always loving me, even when I don't feel you near."
Yeah. That's good.
And again, reflecting and just remembering where I'd been and just knowing, in every doubt, because I have many, in every fear, because I have many, he's always been there. He's never left me. He's never forsaken me. And again, I was still building on, who are you, God?
Yeah.
And just navigating that. And then, thank you for always loving me, even when I don't feel you near. I don't know how many times it just feels like we're on this road.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
I wish they could see your face. You're looking at me.
They say I have a face for radio. I'm just saying. So, but why are you laughing?
Because how you're looking at me, and then I'm like, he's pondering, and then I don't know what you're pondering, and then I get nervous.
Listen, I was just going to say that I think there should be an addition to this song, and I think it would fit me well if there was a line that said, "Oh, I don't know, let me just see if the Spirit moves me here." Which is a joke, ladies and gentlemen, for those who get way too super sensitive. So here's what I'll say. is that there really should be a line about, that he is near, and thank you for loving me even when my daughter accuses me of such atrocities on More Than a Song.
Well, it's a good thing that wouldn't flow well. That wouldn't go well with the lyric.
Oh, I
with
could
the
find
melody.
a way to make it flow.
Well, but you'd have to find someone to sing it. That would be the hard part.
You don't think I could find someone to sing it? No. You wouldn't sing it?
No.
Okay. Well, I just feel like the last 15 minutes of this program has been interesting.
It's been a roller coaster.
Yeah. But great song. Is that a song you would want to re-record? We talk about that because you've often said that, you're overall there's some songs on the Near album that you would like to re-record.
I think it'd be cool to re-record, a lot of them, maybe all of them at some point. Just to give them a different outlook, a different perspective. I think if I did that maybe I would go in and maybe change things or, edit things a little differently. Or
you mean like the arrangement or like the actual
maybe
lyrics?
Like the lyrics, but maybe not. I don't know.
So you are going to add that part about that I suggested.
Well, I feel like I was moved to do that as well.
Okay. So. Well, God's really moving. Okay. So
I mean, with this one, I feel like I guess it's hard because it's hard for me to gauge that just because I feel like my lyrics now are better than they were then.
I would agree.
But the stories are still so relevant to who I am today.
That makes sense.
So
it does.
I feel like it's hard to be like, no, I don't ever want to re-record anything. But also, I feel like I could have written it better.
Yeah.
So it's like a balancing act of how do we want to do it? What would we want to do? All of that. So I think trying to navigate that. But I think it definitely could have a different spin to it. I think somebody could do something cool with it in production.
And In the Silence is experiencing that right now.
Yeah.
Going to have to redo the vocals from the original recording. So let's talk about this real quick. So piece by piece, the album is recorded. Mm-hmm. It's just now production.
Yeah.
And thank God for Eric, who's kind of picking up those pieces. So let me ask you this: what is next for Breanna Megan music? So piece by piece, obviously we're working through that. That's going to take some time. I highly doubt you're going to start a new project until that's finished. But what's next?
Music wise, obviously, I just keep writing and I just keep, trying to do that. But I'm currently in a season where I'm just navigating what God wants. And I'm honestly a bit frustrated and he knows all this. So I'm just frustrated. I'm like, God, like, what do you want from me? You get in those moments in places where you just feel like you don't belong or you aren't making the impact you once did. And I'm experiencing all of those things in a lot of areas of my life. And so I've just been, talking to him and, what do you want from me? What do you want me to do? And there's some things that he is placing in my heart, I guess you could say. Things that I feel, I guess, led to do, but I'm unsure where to begin. And it also scares me because I don't know what it looks like. So I'm just navigating that. I haven't even spoken to anyone about it because I don't even know what it looks like.
As it relates to music, what kind of album do you want to do next?
Oh, sorry. I guess
No, it's okay.
Misunderstood the question. I think it would be cool to do, we've talked about it, like an older, like gospel album type thing where we pull in those older songs and just really, because I love singing, like the older songs that I sing, like The Lighthouse or the songs from the Isaacs or things like that, just gospel songs. Like I said last episode, like I just feel there's just something about them. And they always, like you sent me a song yesterday and I just sat in my car and listened to it and just sang it. And it just immediately is just like what you need, what I needed. So thank you for sending that to me. But just that immediate like connection to him that I often, I get with other songs as well, in the contemporary Christian world, but there's just something about those songs that really get me, I guess. So I think
and
it'd
that
be cool
song
to do
was
that.
Sheltered in the Arms of God and Brian Free and Assurance.
Yeah.
I was listening to it and I was like, I'm going to send it to Breanna.
Yeah, I needed it, and it's good. And so just songs like that, I think would be a really cool thing to do with an album. And just, I think you would hear my heart too in those, because yes, I'm singing my songs and you hear the heart behind those songs because I wrote them. But I think a album, like a gospel album like that songs that have impacted me personally, I think that'd be really cool to do because you would definitely hear the heart behind those.
Yeah.
too.
And I know that when you've been out singing at some of these festivals, you'll throw some of that stuff in and people are asking like, hey, do you have not very many people ask for CDs anymore, but excuse me, but some of the older folks do. And so they're like, hey, do you have a CD of that? And no, I haven't recorded it. And people are, they really like it. And you do a really good job with a lot of that stuff. You've done From the Depths of My Heart by the Isaacs, which is really, really good. You've done The Lighthouse, which is really, really good.
The Only Real Peace.
The Only Real Peace by the Hymnfields. That's the Southern gospel that I grew up on. So,
I think I actually told Faith yesterday, I said, what about, because on YouTube, I think you can do like different playlists of things or something. And I was like, what if I made like a playlist of like videos of myself singing these older songs, like The Lighthouse and all that. And you have to be careful because of copyright and all of that. But, and I did do a From the Depths of My Heart one time. I recorded myself singing that, but I thought about doing that, like a playlist on YouTube of me singing those songs. Because honestly, they're like my favorite songs to sing.
yeah.
Really. They really are.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And then maybe eventually I thought it'd be cool to do like an acoustic album too of just
We've talked about that too.
Just pulling just songs and just singing acoustically would be cool. Just like you had a name for it and I can't remember what the name was, but it would literally just be like basic, just me, my guitar type of thing, whatever acoustic, but I think that would be cool eventually.
So one of the things we mentioned Eric Haley and erichaleymusic.com. Check him out there online, but he's the one that's picking up the pieces for us on this third album that was recorded back in 2023. But the working through this process, he's helping me to create a sound studio where he can handle the music because he's in Texas. He'll handle the music side of it, and then we'll record the vocals here. And I've always had a desire to have like a studio and stuff. So who knows what God's going to do with all this? I mean, there's so many opportunities, but so we're working right now to create a space that you can record your vocals and send those to him, and he'll plug them into the music.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be really cool. And I think about way back when, and I talked about it on the first episode, I believe, of when we talked about In the Silence, but just remembering you looking at me and saying, God didn't give you all these songs to sit in a notebook.
Yeah.
And that's really been something that's been on my heart. And of course, I've released a lot of them, but just trying to navigate everything. And I've always struggled with like the social media side of it or the YouTube side of it because
we don't like self-promotion.
I don't.
But at the same time, and I also have the same exact struggle. At the same time, no one ever hears if you don't put it out there. And honestly, it's no different than the front doors of your church, right? So people walk through the front doors of your church and they get exposed to your music or to my sermons or to my ministry or whatever. And it's no different. It's just now that media is the front door of the church. And like I said, we were talking about the podcast. There's more people listening to the podcast exponentially per month than we reach physically in church per month. And that says something.
Yeah, and it's just hard to believe that many people are listening.
Yeah, all around the world.
And then it makes you wonder. It makes me wonder. I don't know if it makes you wonder. It makes me wonder, what God has planned for any of it, for all of it. But I'm also trying not to rest in that side of it. I'm trying not to look at, okay, God, what are you doing with all of this? I'm just trying to do what he's called me to do.
Yeah.
And, sometimes that's hard, because wondering what you're supposed to do. But one thing that's never been a question for me is music.
Right.
That's never been a question.
And me sitting behind a microphone and doing this has never been a question for me either. So who knows?
I'm trying to trust him, and I think, if you're listening, and I mean, obviously you're listening if you're hearing me, but, I appreciate you listening. But I hope that when people listen and when they hear me, they really hear someone who just genuinely wants what God wants. And I'm not trying to push myself out there. I'm not trying to do all these things, but I'm trying to find the purpose behind the reason that he placed me here. There's a purpose for all of us, and I'm trying to figure out what that plan is. And I'm trying to run my race as best as I can. And I stumble and I fall, but, just always remember that there's a plan and there's a purpose and that he has you. And it goes back to that word abiding, just abide in him and rest in him. And I really went on a journey with that word, trying to figure out what it meant. And I don't know if I fully understood exactly everything it means, but just resting in him and just knowing that he has me.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry about anything, and I don't have to have it figured out. And I'm trying to get better at that aspect too, of not knowing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as we close out this episode, we want to leave you with this. Sometimes the greatest worship comes after the hardest battles. Sometimes, and we've talked about this a great deal with a lot of her music and a lot of her songs, the hardest situations or toughest struggles or hardest battles many times produce some of the greatest lyrics. And if you look at a lot of the old hymns, they were written in a place of struggle, a place of hurt, place of loss. So sometimes the loudest praise comes from the deepest valleys. And so we hope today that you've been blessed in some way, even though we kind of get off track, and, you get to see a glimpse of who we are, which is we're fine with. But we hope you were blessed, because sometimes the reason you're standing on a mountain today is because God brought you through a valley that you didn't think you could get through. And I believe that in many ways, that's the heart of this song, Great and Holy Are You, Lord. It's more than words. It's a declaration. It's worshipful, worshipy, or how did you say it?
A moment of worship.
A moment of worship, yes. But it's a declaration that God's faithful. He's unchanging. He's true. He constantly is near. Psalms 34:1 says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. And that means not just in good times, not just when prayers are answered, but when you're waiting, when you're still hoping, when life doesn't seem to make sense. That's all times. So, thank you for writing a song that causes all of us to look back to what I believe is God's hands, and to look forward in faith, to not get kind of stuck in the same place. So for all of you listening today, take a moment and think about where God has brought you from. Think about the times the enemy tried to stop you, but God intervened. The times that you almost gave up, but he gave you the strength to just keep on going. The times you didn't think you would make it, and yet you did. Here you are. So you're still standing, you're still breathing, you're still worshiping, you're still here. You've been kept, preserved for future use. Because he has his hand on you, he has a plan for you. So today, wherever you are, let this be your declaration. Great are you, Lord. Holy are you, Lord. If More Than a Song with Breanna Megan encourages you, helps you, strengthens you, we hope that you will like and subscribe and share this podcast on any podcasting platform. Also, don't forget you can visit legacylivingmedia.com to see what's happening across the network. You can listen to More Than a Song, What's Important Now, New Beginnings Live. They're all in one place right there. Or again, find them on your favorite podcasting platform. But make sure you subscribe and follow. That's super, super important because we all need to be continually reminded about God's faithfulness. So, and the message matters. It matters a great deal. Don't forget, Breanna has dropped her newest single, Here I Am. It's on all music platforms. If you would like to schedule Breanna to sing at your church or at that festival or fair, if you're an organizer of those events, make sure you email her at Breanna
Megan Music at
gmail.com and make sure you reach out. But like you said earlier, they can find you on Facebook and social media. So, all right, that's it for us now. We'll see you next time here on More Than a Song with Breanna Megan. Take care.